Okay, welcome to the Modern Practice webcast series. My name is Nick Beaujard from Hub One, and in this series we're going to take you through a number of webcasts introducing the concept and practice of a modern practice. So in this series already today we've delivered an introduction. We've talked about how to migrate from your existing platform to your modern practice. We've talked about finding data, and this is probably my favorite session and also my most scary because it's almost all demonstrations. And we're going to talk about day-to-day, how to operate within a modern practice. What are the common things we do and how do they all work? Just a little bit of a plug. December the 13th in the afternoon is the Modern Practice half-day seminar. Again, through Eventbrite, you should be able to log in and subscribe to that. The half-day seminar is for your staff. It's to give them really a half a day of deep dive into all the different processes and procedures to be most effective with the Modern Practice and the Modern Practice portal. And you know, a good call out to our customers here who've really helped us learn, with the technology, how to be most effective and how to use it in the most effective way. So Modern Practice Day today, it's 5 scenarios this afternoon. We're going to first look about how we deal with physical paper. What do we do with it? How do we get it into the modern practice? How do we make it work? How do we file things away? Then we're going to talk about how we work with brand new documents. How do I create a document? How do I save it into SharePoint? How do I not have to do all sorts of complex things to make it work? We're then going to talk about working with templates. How to actually create standard letters and standard documents and use that rich data coming from Workflow Max in your Modern Practice portal, plus other data you may want to use as well. Scenario 4 is, what do I do when a client phones me and wants information? How do I get that quickly? How do I get the information they need? How do I put it in an email? And how do I get it to them? And finally, we're going to talk about the new client process. What do I do? How do I onboard a new client and get them set up the right way in the systems? So we've got half an hour. We've got 5 scenarios. We're going to dive through and go through all of them, and hopefully this will be fairly useful. Let's talk about working with paper. So there's a million different ways we can work with paper. We can file it away in physical filing cabinets. We can send it offshore to be processed. But ideally, we want to talk about a process whereby we take that document and we get it into a useful form. The most useful form of a scanned document is what we call the searchable PDF. It's a document which has layered on top of it the electronic information about the text, which allows us to automatically file that in the right place. And to demonstrate today, if you can hear some rustling in the background, I actually have an electricity bill from AGL. Here it is. And so it's the electricity account for my home office. And what I am going to do is I'm going to put this in my scanner. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to break this process down and show you how this works in the real world. So let me give you an idea. So I'm going to take this document. You might be able to hear this. I'm going to hit start scan. I'm going to scan it to my computer, and I'm just going to grab one of the sides. So if you have a listen, you should be able to hear through my microphone. In a second, my scanner is going to start working, and you should be able to hear that document go in. Now, if I go and share my screen, I can show you what's going on here. So I'm just going to dive across to my screen. In a second you should be able to see that. And what's going on in the background, although you can't see it, is my HP scanner. So really at home, I just have a simple home HP scanner. I put that document in the sheet feeder. It's just scanned that document and it's just about to perform software OCR. So optical character recognition means it can read what's on the document and process it. So that's just going through now. And it's processing page 1. And you will see now on that screen this new PDF, scan 0003, has appeared. So there it is. Now, what I'm also running is this thing called the Scan Document Manager. Here it is. The Hub One Scan Document Manager, we can configure to look at documents coming in from the scanner and automatically file it into Workflow Max. So I'll just show you how it's configured. First of all, we configure which SharePoint site we're going to. Secondly, we configure how we're going to match the document. So here I'm just looking for the client name, but I could also choose custom fields to match tax file numbers, company numbers, or business numbers. I can choose whether my service is in normal Workflow Max or New Zealand. I then say what folder do I want it to look at. I can then say, if I see the word invoice, append invoice to the file name before uploading, which is kind of handy. And then finally I can do what we call word equivalence, which is if I see PTYLT, if I see P/L or I see proprietary limited, I want to match that to PTY limited in my client file. And so that's how it does those matches. So anyway, that all looks good. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to drag and drop this file into the upload folder. Now in real life what you do is you'd have this looking at that folder, but here we go, it's processing. So it's looking at that document, it's reading it, it's comparing it to my Workflow Max clients, and what it's going to do is it's going to upload that to the Modern Practice portal for me. So I don't have to think about anything, we can have that running and sitting there, and there we go, it's already done, it's already processed, and it will have uploaded that to the Modern Practice portal, and that will be all ready for use, and the system's starting to index it. So from a paper point of view, it's a really cool process. I basically sit there and scan my documents, and I let the scanner management tool sit there, look at the files coming in, and automatically upload it to the Modern Practice portal. So I hope that makes sense. And you're all sitting there, you're going like, yeah, right, Nick, let's check it out. So a couple of things, here's that folder. If I have a look in Upload Completed, I can see that that file was uploaded. And if I look at the log file, I can see down here, right, here's the scan today, which is automatically put into the AGL file, right, because AGL is my gas company, my electricity company. Let me prove it to you, just because I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my client file, here it is, into AGL. I'm going to look at which documents were done. There we go, there's the one which was done today at 12:11 p.m. And if I open up that document, what you will see in a second when it opens it up and is my AGL electricity account. So without me touching it, it's read it, it's worked out it's from AGL, it's matched it to the client in Workflow Max, and it's automatically filed it in the right place. So that's how to work with paper. The cool thing is, because my scanner and your scanner will have gone and worked out where text is and where it isn't, you'll be able to search on all that data later. So it puts it in the right folder, it files it away, and you can search on that data later. So certainly that's how to work with paper. So let me just take you back to what we were doing there. So there's the Scan Document Manager, you see, looking at those files and making that all happen. So we like that, we're kind of happy with that. That's a new tool from Hub 1. So let me go back to the presentation. That's scenario 1. How do I deal with paper? Scenario 2. How do I work with new documents? So we will, if you've got questions, note them down. We'll deal with them in a little bit. How do I deal with new documents? So I want to create a new document. This is not a document from a template. This is just a new document. We're going to do templates in a second. So let's go and have a look at scenario 2. How do I deal with a new document? So I'm going to show you. I'm going to launch myself a copy of Word. So let me show you my screen. And here it comes. Right, you should be able to see my screen again. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start Microsoft Word. Now, the version of Word I'm using here is Word 2013, which is kind of cute. There we go, so 2013 looks like it's the latest version of Word, but it's really like any others. And I'm just going to create from a normal template, let's choose a single space blank, that will do, create. So here's my document, and I'm going to say hello world in my document. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit save, and to make my life really easily, I'm just going to save it locally. Because I want to work on that for a little bit. So I'll save it in my documents. I'll call it Hello World. So I'll save that. And then after I've done that, I want to copy that to SharePoint. The easiest way, really, that we found is to go into my documents. You find the document you've just saved. Let's find it, which should be, let me find Hello World. Maybe it's down the bottom. Where have I put it? Name. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, hello world, there it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it. I'm going to drag it down to Outlook. Outlook opens. I'm going to open the main Outlook page. Oh, let me just go there. And I'm going to drop it straight into Harmony. So I'm just going to pop this in the AGL folder. I'm going to let go of it like that. It's going to say, what is it? I'm going to say it's just a document, sir. I'm going to drop it in, and that automatically saves it in the right folder. And because I've set my rules in Harmony, it's checked it in. So that's the quickest way to get a document. Now, what have I done? I've just put it in the wrong folder. How do I move it around? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I normally would. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to go back up. I'm going to go into the Hub 1 folder. And in here, let me find some space. I'm just going to, let me just paste it. And that will move it from one folder in SharePoint to another, just like you would with your old file system. So if I want to edit it now, it gets even more exciting because it's a simple document. I'm going to double click on it in Harmony. It's going to open up Word for me, but this time Word's smart. Word now knows that I'm talking to the document in SharePoint and I'm not talking to the document locally. So instead of mucking around, what it's going to do, you see there, is actually talking to SharePoint. It's going to load up that document for me, and you'll see at the top it said, to modify this document, you must check it out. So what's going on here is Word knows that I've checked in that document. Word understands that I want to check it out. Word's actually talking to SharePoint. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it hello world. I'm going to save it. Now that's uploaded it and updated it in SharePoint. If I go and close Word now, it says, do you want to check it in? And I'll say yes. Now, isn't that easier than some of the other ways we've been working with this? So I'm just going to check that in. That's checked in automatically. You'll see it will appear in Harmony. If I hit refresh, what you'll see now in that document, in the version history, down the bottom is both of those versions there. So this now works with any file. I can double click on it in Harmony. It opens the right application. The application understands the document, and that's how I work with new documents. There's another thing I can do as well, which is a fairly neat segue. Instead of doing that, I can just click here and go New Document, and that will launch a blank document. And you can say, well, where does it get that document from, Nick? The place it's getting that from is actually templates in SharePoint. And that leads us to the next scenario. How do I work with a template? So I'm going to show you. I've created this new document from SharePoint. And you see at the top, it's got some data from the server, some properties. What I'm going to do without playing with them is I'm going to go my standard letter. And instead of saving it in SharePoint, I'm going to save it locally. So let me just pop it in my documents, and I am going to make it a template. There you go. My standard letter is a Word template, and I'm going to hit save. Okay, so I've saved off that template. I now have a Word template. I'm now going to show you how to integrate that into the Modern Practice portal. There's a little bit to it, but it's not that hard, so bear with me. First thing I'm going to do is go to the Modern Practice portal. So I'm just going to go to mine. And there's two things I have to do. First of all, I go into Site Settings, and I go into Site Content Types. And these are like templates I can use throughout my site. I'm actually going to dive down into do this in the Document Center rather than at the top, because I don't really want it at the top. So once again, Site Settings, Site Content Types. And I'm going to create a new one. And I'm going to call it my Wednesday template, or my Wednesday type. And it is based on the document. That's cool. And I'm going to put it in Modern Practice. So this is what it's based on. And then down here is where I'm going to store it. So I'm just going to say, there's my type of document. So there it is. It's created it. And you see here, there are some columns. And those columns I can use to populate data in the template. We're going to look at that in a second. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Advanced Settings, and I'm going to upload a new template. And if I browse, if I go to my documents, if I can remember what I called my template, I think it was, what date are we today? Oh goodness, I've forgotten what I called it. There we go. Did I put it in downloads? I might have done. No, I didn't. Now I'm going to just use I'll just use the document I created earlier. So, all files, date modified. I better put it in here. My standard letter. There we go. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to hit save. So now what I've done is I've applied the template to that type. Okay, we're almost done. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Documents library. So I go to the Documents library, I'll click on Library, Library Settings. I'm going to go to Content Types, I'm going to Add, and if I choose Modern Practice, I should now have my Wednesday type. Okay, all done. There's my Wednesday type. Okay, right, that's all looking good to start with. So now what I've done in Documents, and you'll see this hopefully should have come together by now. If I click on New Document, I have the Wednesday type drop down. So I've now created a content type, I've created a template, I've integrated them together. Now all I want to do is make the template work for me. The way I do that is I go into Site Content Types, go find my Wednesday type, go to Advanced Settings, and click Edit Template. And that now allows me in Word to go in and insert fields. Now I could have added columns to this, I haven't, but I'll show you how to, there it is, I'll show you how to insert the columns, the data from the columns. I'll just go Insert, Quick Parts, Document Property, and there you see, as my custom property, tax year here. I'll just put that in, so my standard letter for 2013, and there I go. I can sit there with my tax year, I can hit the drop down, and I can then, when I'm building this document, choose anything I want out of SharePoint. It saves it in the document and saves it in SharePoint. So here's your process. When you want to create a template, you create a content type. You upload a simple template. You then attach that content type to your document library, and then you can go in and edit the template and make it whatever you want it to be. That's the template process. It seems a little convoluted. Do it a couple of times. It actually becomes fairly simple and straightforward. So, we've done all of those things. Now we're at the point where we're going to get a client phoning us up. So we have templates. I can create new documents. I can save documents. I can do all sorts of very cool things, and I can work with my paper. Now I'm going to get a client phone me up, and I'm going to do an example from me. I get an example where AGL phone me up, and it's like, hey Nick, it's AGL. And I go, oh, hi AGL. And they say, well Nick, we sent you an invoice just the other day, and you haven't paid it. And I'm going to go, you sent me an invoice. So I don't think AGL put the word invoice on their invoices, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search for AGL and account. See if that helps me. So if I do a search, all of these say AGL account because they just so happen to be the same document. If I click on this one, I can instantly go in and say, what's that document? I can have a look. It's going to open it. For you guys, it will open it in Adobe Reader. For me, and I didn't show you that, so I'm going to show you my secondary screen so you can see it. And I'm just going to do that process again so you can see what I did. So, back to the beginning. I get a let that load. Right, here's Harmony. First of all, I get a phone call from AGL. AGL phones me up and they say, Nick, we have a problem with your account, i.e. you haven't paid it. And I say, that's very interesting. So how much is the account? And they say, Nick, the account is for $341.90. So I do, well, let me do a search and see if I can find it and see if we received the document. So here I have two documents here. There's one from the 26th of the 11th. Let me double click on that document. You see down there, total amount due, $341.90. What's going on in the background is all that indexing and searching is allowing me to search AGL $341.90. And there's the bill. I can actually see what I owe. That works in all sorts of different ways. So you can get really smart about talking to your client. So for example, if they go, we're phoning you about your account, and you go, the account number is what? They go 6108-0016. Well, let's see what I have in my entire document library about 6108-0016. Well, here's this document, and you'll see my reference is 6108-0016. So that's how we can pull together those queries and find anything in my entire document library based on the smallest piece of information I've been given. And we can really search anything we want. Then when we go and have a look, if we want to see if it's the thing we want, I can see the different documents, and I can see a précis and exactly where it found it before I go in and open the document. So a bunch of different ways, but very quickly I can find out, information that a client wants. It doesn't just work here in Harmony though. Just to let you know, if I was to go into my document center here, and here it is, and I type in that account number again, 6108-0016, and hit enter, that's actually going to tell me it's the same document. But from here, I can then do a search across all sites in SharePoint. And so this is my entire SharePoint environment, every one of my sites. And you can see we've had a bunch of electricity accounts over time which have had that information in them. So lots of different things we can do and use to find out information when a client's on the phone. It's all about trying to make you work faster. So I can see who uploaded it, I can see which site, I can see anything uploaded in the past month, and I can just filter from the left-hand side to find that. See, this one was actually done by the scanner software. So there you go. That's showing how to work, with documents and how to find things when somebody calls. So moving on to our very last scenario, the new client process. It's really important we get this right. Onboarding new clients is critical to make sure we have the data there. We've worked with our customers to find out what is the quickest way to get information about a new client and get it all built. The way we do it is this. The first thing we do is we go into Workflow Max. Look, I'm going to show you the whole process so you're familiar with it. So, number one, what I'm going to do, I'll just let that come up. Right, I'm going to log into Workflow Max. So when I log into Workflow Max, I'm going to go and create my client. Now you might create your client from a lead or from all sorts of things, but the very first thing you do is you make sure your client is in Workflow Max. So I'm just going to go and do this right now. So client, new client, demonstration test. There we go. I'll make me the account manager and I'll save it. So you'd obviously put more information there, but there's my client in Workflow Max. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to go to the Modern Practice portal. And what you'll see when I go in there, and you'll certainly see it in Harmony, is if I go into Document Center and I go into Clients, that client I just created doesn't exist. There's no folder for them. But there shouldn't be. They're a new client. But when I start doing work for them, that's when I actually start creating that. So what I'm going to do is very simply, I'm just going to take this little document I uploaded earlier. There's nothing in it. But what we'd normally do is the letter of engagement. And with the very first document, this is where we're going to do some neat things, and we're going to get SharePoint to file it for us. So I'm going to make it a client document. I'm going to hit the little button here. What that's going to do is that's going to talk to Workflow Max. It's going to get me a list of my clients. That will appear on the screen in a second if I hit the little button, which I think I did. Here it is. And I'm just going to type in demo and hit return. And what I have is that new client I created in Workflow Max. I'm going to hit OK. Right, that's going to put it back in the form. There we go. And if I hit submit, that document has now been filed, but there's other things been going on. What effectively has happened is now in my clients folder it's created that folder, and it's created that folder that now matches in Workflow Max. So we have one other step to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the Document Center, back to Clients, and I'm just going to go to this one, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose Copy Shortcut. Now, when I go back to Workflow Max, I'm going to link the two together. And the way I do that is I go into Workflow Max, find my clients, let's find demonstration, there it is. I'm going to edit the client, and I'm going to paste in that link. Right, done. So now I have the facility. Here's the client in Workflow Max. I click on the client, and up comes automatically the client folder in SharePoint. So without mucking around, what I've done very quickly is I've created the client in Workflow Max. I've got SharePoint to create exactly the right folder for it. Once that folder's there, I've copied it, pasted it back into Workflow Max. I can now open my Documents folder from Workflow Max instantaneously. And obviously, just to pull it all together, what's also happened, if I just go back to Clients in Harmony, just let that load up, is you'll see that client folder is now also in Harmony. So everything's pulled together really quite quickly there. So hopefully that was useful. And I'm really hoping that gave you a really good overview of those 5 different scenarios, my day in a life scenarios. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. We're going to stop recording now and make this available later. And I hope you have a great day. Hang around. We're going to sit here and take questions straight after.